Jai Hind friends, welcome to Kalyani IS Academy. In this lecture we will study nerve system. Now start the lecture and understand what is nervous system. See, the human body consists of different cells, tissues, organs and organ systems. And there must be control on these components and there must be coordination among these components so that a specific function could be performed by human body. Second thing is that many changes are occurring in this environment and there must be reaction to these changes. For an example, if temperature is increasing, right, and despite the temperature is increasing, human is not moving from one place to another place, then definitely there would have negative impact on his health and he may not be able to survive over there. Therefore, there must be a system to react the changes or stimuli which are occurring in our environment, and for this the system which is found in human body is known as nerve system. Clear? So what is nerve system? If we have to know the importance, of nervous system, then we can see these points. See, all living organisms are aware of changes occurring in their environment, right, like changes in light, temperature and sound, right, movement and smell, and these changes are occurring every second and everywhere, right. So all living organisms are aware of the changes occurring in their external environment, such as changes in light, temperature, sound, movement as well as smell. When it comes to the survival of any living organism, it depends on how well they react to the stimuli or changes in their environment. If faster the response to stimuli means better chances of the survival, right. So if faster response, so for faster response, or we can say that for survival, right, for faster response or for survival, there must be a system to react to the stimuli or changes in our environment, right. As communication from one cell to another cell is actually very slow and insufficient for multicellular organisms, a specialized system is required to react to stimuli. This system is known as the nervous system, which could instantly transfer electrical signals, right, from one part of the body to another part of the body. So simply we can say that nervous system is most important for the survival, because in the presence of nervous system, a organism, especially human, can react to the stimuli or changes which are occurring in his environment, and he can survive at that stage, or he can coordinate his he can establish coordinate among his organs, right. So this is the importance of nervous system, right. So simply we can say that the nervous system is most important to survival of any living organism. It depends on how well they react to stimuli or changes in their environment. Faster response to stimuli means better chances of the survival. Therefore, a specialized system is found in multicellular organisms, especially in humans, right? Humans, so that the nervous system, right, which could instantly transfer the electric signal from the one part of the body to the another part of the body, और इन सिग्नल्स के माध्यम से ही वो अपने ऑर्गन्स को एक तरीके से कंट्रोल कर सकते हैं, कोऑर्डिनेट कर सकते हैं, साथ ही साथ वो जो भी स्टिमुली हैं और चेंजेस हैं, राइट, उनको भी रिएक्ट कर सकते हैं एंड कैन सर्वाइव एट दैट एनवायरनमेंट, राइट. नाउ वी विल सी द नर्वस सिस्टम इन ह्यूमन बीइंग्स, right. So the nervous system in human beings, see, the system that controls, operates and coordinates the functions of all the organs in the body is known as nervous system in humans, right? So the system that controls, operates and coordinates the functions of all the organs in the body is known as the nervous system. The human nervous system, along with thinking, understanding, right? Thinking, understanding, remembering, works to establish, coordinate and balance in the functions of different parts of the body, right? So the nervous system, along with thinking, understanding, remembering, right, establishing coordinate, right, balance in the functions of different part of the body is known as nervous system. The nervous system is a network of special type of cells whose function is to recognize and receive information in the sensory organs and react on the basis of this information, right? The control and coordination is mainly done by brain and the spinal cord, right? The human nervous system is divided mainly in two parts. The first is central nervous system and second is peripheral nervous system, right? So the central nervous system which consists of the brain, right? और जो brain होता है अभी हमने समझा था कि the control and coordination is mainly done by brain and spinal cord, and both are the parts of central nervous system, right? So central nervous system consists of the brain and spinal cord. Second, peripheral nervous system, right, includes all the nerves of the body, right? In simply words, we can say that central nervous system is the site where all the information is received, right? Then decisions are taken and then signals are sent to the organs of the body through peripheral nervous system. So we can say that peripheral nervous system is a network of nerve cells, whereas the central nervous system is the site where all the information is received, right, analyzed and decisions are taken, right, at central nervous system. So the first is central nervous system. The nervous system that controls the whole body and the nervous system itself is known as the central nervous system, right? So simply not only the whole body but also itself, right? So the nervous system that controls the whole body and the nervous system itself is known as central nervous system. It controls and regulates various functions of the body. And brain and spinal cords together constitute the central nervous system. Now, the MCQs, different MCQs are asked from the brain as well as the spinal cord. For an example, right, which is the which portion of human brain is known for logic, right? Yeah, which portion is known for the balance of the body, right? These type of different questions may be asked in the examination, so we will see one by one. So let's study the human brain, which is the most important. See, the brain is the most important organ of the human body and it is among the 5 organs, right? 5 organs among the 78 organs of the human body, right? जो कि सर्वाइवल के लिए बहुत ही जरूरी होते हैं. Because if there is any injury or damage in the brain, then definitely human cannot survive, right? The first is brain, second heart, lungs, kidney and liver. These are the 5 most important organs of the human body and the brain is among these 5 organs of the human body. The brain is most important and necessary organ of the human body. Also, the brain is important, largest and central organ of the human nerve system. It is the control unit of the nervous system which helps us in discovering new things, remembering, right, understanding, making decisions and a lot more. तो ये पूरी की पूरी क्या होती है, कंट्रोल. जो ह्यूमन ब्रेन है, दिस इज अ कंट्रोल यूनिट which means we receive all the information at the brain and फिर जो हमारा brain है वो analyze करता है information को, decision लेता है, right, and this also helps in discovering new things, remembering, understanding, making decisions and a lot more. Human brain is important, therefore it is protected in the skull. It is enclosed within the skull, which provides frontal, lateral and dorsal protection. The average weight of the human brain is 400 grams. A covering called meninges is found around the brain, and this meninges covering provides the protection from the external shocks and pressure. Right? So a covering meninges is found around the ह्यूमन ब्रेन, राइट. तो ये जो है एमसीक्यूज के रूप में पूछे जा सकते हैं. ह्यूमन ब्रेन का वेट होता है 400 ग्राम्स, राइट. एक मेनिंजेस की कवरिंग पाई जाती है विच प्रोटेक्ट्स द ब्रेन फ्रॉम एक्सटर्नल शॉक्स एंड प्रेशर. एंड देयर आर 3 मेजर पार्ट्स ऑफ द ह्यूमन ब्रेन. फर्स्ट इज फोरब्रेन, सेकंड इज मिड ब्रेन एंड थर्ड इज हिंड ब्रेन. नाउ लेट्स स्टडी वन बाय वन, राइट. अब यहां से किस टाइप के क्वेश्चन जो है एग्जाम्स में पूछे जाएंगे, राइट. आई विल टेल यू, एंड दिस इज द डायग्राम ऑफ अ ह्यूमन ब्रेन, राइट. You have to remember this diagram as well as you have to keep the every portion of the human brain, right. You have to understand the every portion of the human brain, right. So there are 3 portions, right. There are 3 parts of human brain. First is hind brain, second is mid brain and third is hind brain, right. There are 2 portions of forebrain, right. The first is cerebrum, right. Cerebrum I will tell you here. So we will see the overview of this lecture, right. There are 3 portions of human brains, right. So this is human brain. Human brain has 3 portions. The first is forebrain, then second is midbrain and the third is hindbrain, right. Now there are 2 parts of forebrain. The first is cerebrum, then diencephalon. Diencephalon, in shortcut I am writing in shortcut, and there are 2 portions of diencephalon. The first is thalamus, which is the upper part of diencephalon, then hypothalamus. There are two portions of midbrain, right. Corpora quadrigemina and cerebral pinnacle, right. And there are 3 portions of hindbrain. The first is cerebellum, then medulla oblongata and third is pons, right. So this is the structure of human brain. अब यहीं से जो है MCQs पूछे जाएंगे. So human brain may be divided in 3 portions, right. Forebrain, right. Where is the forebrain in this diagram? See, this is the upper portion, right. The upper portion is the forebrain, right. The upper portion, अगर हम यहाँ पर से देखें तो this the upper portion, right. The upper of this part is known as forebrain, right. Then यहाँ पर जो बीच में आता है ये क्या होता है, मिड ब्रेन होता है, एंड जो लोअर पार्ट दिस इज नोन एज हिंड ब्रेन. देयर आर 2 पार्ट्स ऑफ फोरब्रेन. द फर्स्ट इज सेरेब्रम, राइट. सेरेब्रम इज द लार्जेस्ट पार्ट ऑफ ह्यूमन ब्रेन, राइट. तो सेरेब्रम इज द लार्जेस्ट पार्ट ऑफ ह्यूमन ब्रेन which is 2/3 of the total human brain. Also cerebrum, right. Cerebrum is the largest portion of human brain as well as it is the largest portion of forebrain as well, right. Cerebrum is the center of logic. Cerebrum is the center of logic, memory, right, thinking and rational thinking. It means that if cerebrum is developed, then human would be intelligent. Second is thalamus. Second is diencephalon. The first is known as thalamus, right, which receives information, right. The thalamus is the portion of forebrain which receives information through spinal cord or different nerves, right. Then hypothalamus, right. Hypothalamus is the lower part of the upper brain. So this is hypothalamus. Hypothalamus is the center of heart beating, right, then sleeping and etc. etc. The midbrain plays an important role in sight, right? तो एक तरीके से जो है साइट देखने के लिए जो है मिड ब्रेन का इंपॉर्टेंट रोल होता है. देन हिंड ब्रेन. द फर्स्ट इज cerebellum, right? This is cerebellum. Cerebellum is the second largest, right? Cerebellum is the second largest portion of the human brain, right? This cerebellum plays an important role in the balance of human body and making posture, right? For an example, you are running, right? So you are maintaining your balance as well, and to maintain the balance of the body, cerebellum plays an important role. Then medulla oblongata, heartbeat, right? So the medulla oblongata controls the heartbeat. Then pons, right? This is the lowest portion, or we can say that this is the lower portion of the hind brain, and this is spinal cord, right? This is a spinal cord which controls the reflexive actions, right? So in this way we have seen the overview of human brain, right? और इसी तरीके से आपको ये पूरा का पूरा टॉपिक तैयार करना है, so that if you find any MCQs related to human brain, you would be able to answer it properly, right? So let's study the first, which is forebrain. See, forebrain is the largest portion of the human brain, and it makes up the 2/3 of the brain. So forebrain is the largest portion and it makes 2/3 of the human brain. It is divided in two parts. The first is cerebrum, then second is diencephalon. Let's study about the cerebrum. Cerebrum is the largest portion of the human brain, right? So cerebrum is the largest portion, and understand here the spelling of cerebrum and cerebellum is confusing, right? Difference is of lum, right? So this is cerebrum and this is cerebellum, therefore concentrate here, right? So cerebrum is the largest portion, right? Cerebrum is the largest part of the human brain, and this cerebrum comprises about 2/3, right? 2/3 of the entire brain. It is the most developed part of the human brain. This may be asked directly in the examination, right? So cerebrum is the most developed part of the human brain, and cerebrum is the center of human consciousness, reasoning, memory and intelligence. It is the center of human memory, human will, right? Knowledge and cleverness. Also, it is the center of consciousness, center of reasoning and logic, memory, cleverness, logic, right? Therefore, this is the most developed part of the human brain. If this develops, then human would be intelligent enough, right? This analyzes and coordinates the information received from the senses. The power to think and understand, right? The power to think and understand something and the motivation to do any work in human beings is obtained from the cerebrum. Therefore, this is the most important portion of the human brain. It also controls the functions of the other parts of the brain. Now, second is diencephalon, right? Diencephalon is the part of forebrain which is divided into two parts. The first is thalamus. The upper part, right? Remember for this MCQs, the upper part, right? The upper part of the diencephalon is known as thalamus, and the thalamus receives sensory impulses, right? The thalamus receives sensory impulses from all the parts of the body, either directly or through the spinal cord and from various parts of the brain. These sensory information includes hearing, taste, sight or pressure. So in simply words, we can say that human brain receives information at thalamus, right? Or we can say that thalamus receives sensory impulses, or we can say that thalamus receives sensory information from all parts of the body, like hearing, taste, sight, pressure, etc., etc. The pineal gland is attached to this part, and this pineal gland secretes the melatonin hormone which is responsible for sleep, right? So the pineal gland and pituitary gland both are the most important glands in human body, right? So here is a pineal gland. This is pineal gland, right? And do you know the pineal gland is also known as the third eyes of the Shiba, right? It is considered that if you have successfully activated your pineal gland, then definitely you can control your biological cycle, and you can control your senses, and definitely you would become the most wise person in the world, right? And this is also known as the sixth sense, right? So the pineal gland is most important, right? This pineal gland controls the biological cycle of the human body. Also, this is also responsible for the proper sleep, and the pineal gland is attached to thalamus, right? You have to keep in the mind. Clear? Some centers of thalamus play an important role in memory, emotionally, and cognition, right? So simply, thalamus is the upper part of the diencephalon. The thalamus receives sensory impulses or sensory information. Third is pineal gland is attached to the thalamus. Now hypothalamus, right? The lower part of the diencephalon is known as hypothalamus, and it controls many functions of the body and is of great importance in homeostasis, right? Homeostasis ऐसी प्रोसेस होती है कि अगर लाइफ थ्रेटनिंग होती है तो जो इन्वायरमेंट की स्टिमुली है या चेंजेस हैं, राइट, उनके अकॉर्डिंग रिएक्ट किया जाता है, राइट? सो हाइपोथैलेमस प्लेस एन इंपॉर्टेंट रोल in the functioning of body and is of great importance in homeostasis, right? The hormones secreted by it control the secretory functions of the pituitary gland, right? Pituitary gland is the master gland of the human body because pituitary gland is responsible for the growth, right? Pituitary gland is responsible for growth of the body, and दिस पिट्यूटरी ग्लैंड से जो हार्मोन्स निकलते हैं, द हार्मोन्स सेक्रेटेड बाय द पिट्यूटरी ग्लैंड्स कंट्रोल्स द हार्मोन्स ऑफ अदर ग्लैंड्स, राइट? इन दिस वे डायरेक्टली ये हमारी ह्यूमन बॉडी को क्या करता है, कंट्रोल करता है. तो द हार्मोन्स सेक्रेटेड बाय हाइपोथैलेमस, राइट, कंट्रोल्स द फंक्शंस ऑफ पिट्यूटरी ग्लैंड्स, और पिट्यूटरी ग्लैंड्स फिर अदर ग्लैंड से निकलने वाले हार्मोन्स को क्या करती है, कंट्रोल करती है. इस तरीके से जो हाइपोथैलेमस है विच इज ऑफ ग्रेट इंपॉर्टेंस. इट कंटेन्स द सेंटर्स ऑफ हंगर, थर्स्ट एंड सैटिस्टी, राइट? सो द सेंटर ऑफ हंगर, थर्स्ट एंड सैटी, राइट, ये किस में होते हैं, हाइपोथैलेमस में होते हैं. वहीं सेंटर ऑफ लॉजिक, रीजनिंग, मेमोरी, विल पावर, these centers belongs to the cerebrum, right? Along with the hunger, thirst centers, body temperature, blood pressure, sleep, fertility, heartbeat are also controlled by the hypothalamus. Now midbrain, right? There are two parts of the midbrain. The first is corpora quadrigemina, right? Corpora quadrigemina is the control center of sight and hearing, right? So this corpora quadrigemina is the control center of sight as well as hearing. Second, cerebral pinnacle, right? Cerebral pinnacle connects other parts of the brain to the spinal cord. Now third is hindbrain, right? So there are three parts of hindbrain. The first is cerebellum, second medulla oblongata, and third pons. The first is cerebellum. Remember, cerebrum is the largest portion of the human brain, whereas cerebrum is the largest portion of the hindbrain. Clear? And second, it is the second largest part of the human brain. Concentrate here. Cerebellum is the second largest part of human brain, and cerebellum is the largest part of hindbrain. Clear? So it is the largest part of hindbrain and it is second largest part of the human brain. It is large, solid and complex structure, is found in the posterior part just below the cerebrum, right? It establishes movement, coordination, body balance, and voluntary muscles contraction, right? Voluntary muscles contraction, which means that I have to lift a heavy weight, then definitely I have to tighten the muscles of the thigh as well as here so that I could lift the heavy weight, right? And it is a strong, right? It is a strong, right? So this is the cerebellum, right? So this is the cerebellum, which is responsible for the maintaining body posture, right? Body posture, right? Body balance as well as voluntary muscle contraction, right? So this is the cerebellum, right? This is the cerebellum. This is the second largest part of the human brain, right? So this is cerebellum. This is the second largest part of the human brain, right? And this plays an important role in the body balance, and this plays an important role in the body balance, movement, coordination as well as voluntary muscle contraction. The cerebellum controls the body posture, balance and muscle movements. Its main function is to maintain the balance of the body so that we could function properly. Next is medulla oblongata, right? Medulla oblongata is the posterior part of the brain. So this is the posterior part of the brain. Its main function is to control metabolism, right? Blood pressure, alimentary, peristalsis, right? Heartbeat and breathing. It controls some reflexive actions like coughing, right? This is also important. The medulla oblongata controls some reflexive actions, for an example, coughing, sneezing, vomiting, secretion of digestive juices, and this is also known to control the heartbeat. Third is pons, right? So pons are related to the control of respiration. Now spinal cord. The posterior part of the medulla oblongata forms the spinal cord, and this controls the reflexive actions. What are the reflexive actions? For an example, this is a hot item. If I touch it, then when I get the hot temperature, I will just pull out my hands, right? So this would be reflexive action. So the posterior part of the medulla oblongata is known as spinal cord, which plays an important role to control the reflexive actions, right? So spinal cord is the posterior part of the medulla oblongata, right? So the posterior part of the medulla oblongata forms the spinal cord. It is the part of central nervous system. It controls, the spinal cord controls and coordinates the reflexive actions, right? So a spinal cord controls and coordinates reflective actions. The spinal cord conducts stimuli coming and going from the brain. Next, peripheral nervous system. See, we have sensory organs. For an example, we have eyes, we have ears, we have nose, we have tongue, right? And through these sensory organs, we receive the information in the form of sight, hearing, right? Taste, right? Or touch, right? So we get these information through sensory organs, right? And this is the sensory organ, right? So the portion of the nervous system which connects every part to the human brain is known as peripheral nervous system. Clear? So the peripheral nervous system is the system of nerves connecting the central nervous system to the various sensory and functional part of the body, such as organs and muscles, so that we could get information and we could implement our taken decision, right? So the peripheral nervous system is the system of nerves connecting the central nervous system to various sensory and functional parts of the body, such as organs and muscles. The peripheral nervous system is made up of nerves, right, originating from the brain and spinal cord, which are called cranial and spinal nerves respectively, right? So the nerves which are originated in the brain are known as cranial nerves, right? And the nerves which are originated at spinal cord are known as spinal nerves respectively. And most important, there are 12 pairs of cranial nerves. So there are 12 pairs of cranial nerves in humans. There are 31 pairs of spinal nerves in humans. So most important, there are 12 pairs of cranial nerves in humans. There are 13 pairs of spinal nerves in humans. The peripheral nervous system is divided in two parts. The first is somatic nervous system, then second is autonomic nervous system. The first is somatic nervous system. The somatic nervous system carries stimuli from the central nervous system to the voluntary organs and smooth muscles of the body. Right? So the somatic nervous system carries stimuli from the central nervous system to the voluntary organ and smooth muscles of the body. Second क्या है यहाँ पर है? Second है automatic nervous system. Right? This automatic neural system is involved in involuntary actions like regulation of physiological functions. For an example, digestion, respiration, and salivation. Right? So जो ऑटोनोमिक ऑटोनोमिक नर्वस सिस्टम है, ये हमारी बॉडी की जो जितने भी इंटरनल एक्शंस होती हैं, फॉर एन एग्जांपल इनवॉलंटरी एक्शंस लाइक रेगुलेशन ऑफ फिजियोलॉजिकल फंक्शंस सच एज डाइजेशन, रेस्पिरेशन और सेलिवेशन, जिससे सलाइवा सेक्रेट होती है, उनको क्या करता है? ये कंट्रोल करता है. सो इट इज सेल्फ रेगुलेटिंग सिस्टम विच conveys the impulses from the central nervous system to smooth muscles and involuntary organs such as heart, bladder and pupil. Right? तो जो somatic nervous system है, somatic nervous system जो है, somatic nervous system central nervous system की जो stimuli हैं उनको voluntary organs तक पहुंचाता है. वहीं जो autonomic nervous system है वो इनवॉलंटरी एक्शंस में इन्वॉल्व होता है, फॉर एन एग्जांपल डाइजेशन में, रेस्पिरेशन में. क्लियर? एंड इट इज अ सेल्फ रेगुलेटिंग system which conveys the impulses from the central nervous system to the smooth muscles and involuntary organs. Next is reflexive action. See, the analysis of stimuli received by the senses take place in the brain itself. The actions controlled by the brain are called voluntary actions. Right? So whatever the information we receive, right, we receive at the human brain then analyzes these information and takes the decision. Right? और उनको ही क्या कहा जाता है? voluntary. तो the brain analysis of stimuli received by the senses take place in the brain itself, और उनको ही voluntary actions जो है कहा जाता है. Many actions toward the external stimuli also take place without the control of human brain. These actions are known as involuntary actions and they are controlled by spinal cords. So the involuntary actions are controlled by spinal cord. The brain has no effect on these actions. They are known as reflexive actions. For an example, that I am writing here. If there is an electric current here, when I will touch here and I will get electric shock, just I will pull my legs quickly, right? So I don't need to think in my brain, right? This is a reflexive actions. I know that the electric shock is dangerous for me. Therefore, the spinal cord takes the decision quickly, and I will perform the reflexive actions, right? So these are the involuntary actions, right? The involuntary actions, or we can say that the brain has no effect on these involuntary actions. They are known as reflexive actions, and reflexive actions are controlled by the spinal cords. Right? So in this way we have studied the nervous system of a human body. Now we will meet in next lecture. Till then, thank you.